Good morning, my valued viewers. It's a beautiful overcast day with a breeze, so it's not going to be as hot as usual. Right, I'll crack straight into the first sales of the week, last week. So the first few were Little Big Planet 3 for the PS4, £7.69. Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, no manual, £5.49 for the Xbox 360. Bundle of WWE, or F, I can't remember, wrestling games, £18.95 plus postage, £22.45. Those were PS1 games out of that bundle that was £55. So that's not a bad return already. 2TB hard disk drive. This was out of a Sky Q box. £19.99 plus postage, £24.19. Robo Jam, 2 quiz games and Jungle Party, plus all the buzzers for the PS2. £28.95 plus postage, £32.45 delivered. Next there was Willow Tree Our Gift, £10.79 plus postage, £14.99 for that Willow Tree figure. That was the second out of the 3, a bundle for £5. Siphon Filter for the PS2. This was out of that bundle that was £15 delivered for 38 games, I believe. £7.99 for the Siphon Filter. That's free post. Next there was the Samsung camera charger without the battery. It was just the charger and a 3-pin plug lead. Went for £19.95. I won't bore you with the number. Plus postage, £24.15. Next, Kodak Easy Share. This is the one I didn't really want to buy, but she talked me into it, and then I talked it down to £2 instead of £4. Yeah, so we did a bit of negotiation either way. I put it up for 20 quid, £19.99. First offer, £17, took it. Simple as that. Plus postage, £21.20. It did have a 2 gig card in it originally. That's one of the reasons I paid £2. But I did swap it out with the 512 that was in another camera that I bought the same day. So it only had a 512. It was only a 4 megapixel camera. 512 megabytes is plenty for like hundreds and hundreds of photos. So next was a Nintendo DS game. I got 4 for £5 with a Nintendo DS that I actually sold. It was spares and repair on auction a week or 2 back. This is the first game out of the 4 that sold, and it's the most valuable one. £9.99 free post. Henry Hatsworth in the Puzzling Adventure. Yeah, I've never even heard of it until I saw it, and then I looked it up and found out it was worth some money. But that was after I bought it. I couldn't care less when I was able to get a broken DS and 4 games for £5. I didn't check anything else. Red Dead Redemption, Undead Nightmare. This is the sort of... It's not even a DLC, but it was released as a game. But basically, it's the same game, but with a different storyline and undead creatures, zombies and werewolves and things like that. £7.49 plus postage, £9.99, which is actually a really good price for it. But my first picture, you'll see the pictures, shows it with a really nice clean map. In fact, I think it was the first time it had ever been unfolded. It was all real creased nicely, and I was able to fold it back up in the same manner without the creases going both ways, without any holes, without any scratching on the actual poster. If anybody wanted to put that into a poster size frame, it's ideal, you know, and some people do that with those posters. Wii Sports Resort, £8.99 free post. No more to be said really, except that I bought this for £2 in a charity shop. It's more than I would ever pay really for Wii, except for games that I know are guaranteed sellers, and Wii Sports Resort is a guaranteed seller. Lumix DEA40 charger, without a battery but with a plug cable. Nice camera charger. People need them if they've got the camera. £11.75 plus postage, £15.95. Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone disc only. This is from my recent haul. The case was damaged beyond repair really when it fell off the table. It was already damaged, right? It was already damaged. This is me making excuses for myself. It was on the corner of the table and I had this 25-inch fan going, and just as I walked past it got blew off the table, smashed. My foot was straight on the case. It didn't just land on the floor, it landed under where my foot was about to land. Yeah, unfortunately. £5.95 for the disc only. I do have the back and front covers of the case, but no manual on that. So I may sell them separately. There are people who need them, but £5.95 for that disc only is alright. Got a battery sold here. Floor sweeper. Oh yeah. This is the one that was out of this. That the Green Van Man gave me for free for talking to him for 5 minutes. I mean, I didn't talk to him for 5 minutes so I could get free stuff. It's good to make contacts with people. Anyway, he gave me this, and it had a battery in, and I sold it £9.99 plus postage, £14.19. It was like 6 batteries screwed together with tape. You can see they're specially made up for them, and the replacements are about 20 quid. That's not genuine G-Tech. Well, that one was. Next was 2 games from the Wii bundle. I can't remember when I got these. I couldn't tell you now. I think they came from different bundles anyway. 2 Call of Duty games for the Wii. Call of Duty 3 and Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. $6.95 plus postage, $10.45. Eventually I sold this one. This is the one that somebody bid on. They bid me an offer on it and then didn't pay last week. Somebody else bought it full price, $14.49 plus postage, $16.99. Remember Me PS3 game. Quite a sought after game. It had some really good reviews on YouTube and suddenly the price starts rocketing up. As any game that's got really good reviews does. It happens all the time. That Metal Jesus, damn. Some of the games I wanted, he's told people how good they are. Right, so then we get to the point where this is the stuff going out today. Currently, from last week. This is last week's sales that are going out today. Little camera here. Fujifilm picks. This was out of that. In fact, the whole tray is still there on the floor. I've only picked about 3 things out of the top. This, the other digital one with the memory card in, and a Polaroid. And I've got some lenses that I've photographed but I haven't listed yet. So this is a Fujifilm FinePix F401 digital camera with battery, or at least the title says battery, for parts not working. Now the reason it wasn't working is because the battery is bulging, but I don't know whether it's working when I put a battery in it. So it's not being tested. I pulled the battery out. I decided not to even charge it up. So I've sold it for £5.35 pence plus postage, £9.55. It was an offer. I think I had it up at $6.49 and I sent somebody a discount of 10%, 15%, 18%, something daft like that. Anyway, there you go. £9.55 delivered. And that whole box cost me $15. It's going towards paying it back, and soon enough it will be paid back and then I'll be in profit. That's the theory. I mean, it will be happening because there's such good value in that box. It's unbelievable. I just haven't processed more of it yet. Because I took the battery out of this and the title says it's got a battery in, I messaged the guy and he only got back to me this morning saying it's fine, send it anyway. So that's what I'm doing. Because he might have bought it because it had a battery, and then the title is deceiving because it says camera with battery and it should have said without battery. Never mind. I hold my hands up. I sent him a message saying, do you still want it or would you like to make it to cancel it? And he sent back, he says, I still want it. Then there's a power supply, a JVC AA V16 power charger for a camcorder. Yeah, it also had the lead that went from the charger into the camcorder if you were using it just sat on the side to play videos, because it was that type of tape video player thing, you know, where you're playing it into your TV or playing it into your recorder to transfer video, whatever. Anyway, that's gone. Next that's going out is these 2 games. GBA, Game Boy Advance games. First of all, there's Scooby-Doo, and then there's Bratz Forever Diamonds. Don't know whether you'll be able to see that. Probably not. I'll put pictures up. These were from a bundle that I only found, again, searching through my boxes, because I keep doing that, about a fortnight ago. They were about a year old. I bought them last summer in a bag with a couple of Game Boy Colour cartridges, and I sold one and made all my money back. And I believe, oh, maybe not all my money back, but maybe half my money back. I paid about £25 for those and some PS2 games. Just run-of-the-mill PS2 games, 4 or 5, plus all these Game Boy Advance games. Well, I thought I'd done myself a bad deal, really. But these 2 on their own have gone for £10.90, because they've really gone up in price, these. They used to be £1, £1.90 each. And that was it. Anyway, they've gone for £10.90 minus discount because they bought 2. It's on a multi-listing. I put 18 on a multi-listing last week and I've sold 2 of them for £9.81 including the discount off. So they got 10% off £10.90 to £9.81. And that's going out today. It'll go in a large letter on their own, under 100 grams, because they only weigh about 15 to 20 grams each, maybe only 10, I don't know. Actually, I'll tell you now because there's a scale right in front of me. Just hold on. So there's 2 of them here. Obviously, there'll be an envelope for 20 grams, and they weigh between them 21 grams between them. So I could probably send 4 in an envelope, and that's to be remembered later. Remember, there's foreshadowing for you. So I can send those 2 in one envelope for under 100 grams, which means it'll be £1.55 to send those. Next, Road Rash Jailbreak. This breaks me into profit on that £40-odd game bundle, £55 game bundle, because I had some from earlier. So from earlier I had 3 wrestling ones, Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, they were out that bundle. So was Harry Potter. So I was up to about £26, £18.99 plus postage, £22.49. So if you don't count my commissions, I'm breaking even on this game. If you see what I mean, 40 PS1 games plus 3 PS1 bundle. So I've broken even now on that. And the last thing going out from last week, but it's going out from sales from last week, is this seriously funny bag. This is 8 or 12 pieces of kiddies craft stuff in a bag. I won't get it out, I'll show you a picture. There you go. I've had these 22/10/13. 13th of October 22. I bundled these together. They were on special discount. When I say discount, it was clearance section in my local supermarket. They had all the kiddies craft stuff, and there was loads of it, but some of it wasn't really saleable like this. It was in big bottles of paint and stuff. 10 pence, yeah, 10 pence a pack. So I bundled up packs and we're selling for £6.95. This one, I think they've got 4 left. It's clearance now. It's well over a year and a half old, and it's gone for £5. Well, it's a £3 delivery, isn't it? Maybe even £3.20 depending on the address. But it's been sitting on the shelf waiting for a sale, so I'm happy to sell it off, and I've got like 3 or 4 more. I'm sure that now that the algorithms actually sold one, they may well relist it. You know, it might pop up in a few more sales. It says it's not available now. Actually, I'll change that to 1 and leave it running at 5. It's just getting rid of them. Not a brilliant week, but not bad either, considering the weather and the fact that it's summer holidays and a lot of people be rioting in the streets. They're away from the computers. Okay, so £314.15. Like I said, not brilliant. I am attempting to get more stock on now. I keep saying that, and I'm making a real effort. But this week, despite having more stock on, I didn't make more sales. Right, what's going out from this week? Up to now this week, ink. So this has been waiting from October last year, not the year before, this last year, 23. But it eventually sold at £7.99. I think I paid £1. Plus postage, £12.19. So that's not bad. This one I got a week or so back, paid £5. £19.95 plus postage, £24.15. This has also surprised me actually, either how fast or the fact that I got as good money as it did, because nobody even offered me an offer. It was on with offers. £14 for a Philips DVD player and SCART cable. It's not HD, it's SD, SCART cable. There's only a SCART cable on the back. Well, it has those things, RGB. But this is for, and it's scratched up, but it's got a remote and works fine. So I got £14 plus postage, £14.20. I sold an upscaling Sony Full HD one, what was it, the week before? For less than that. Whatever, doesn't matter, sold it. It cost me £2, sold it for 14. Added in a 50 pence SCART cable. That'll go out today. The next was the last of the 3 willow tree things. Like I said to you, I don't like them, but it doesn't stop me selling them. This one's gone as well. So I got over £10 for the last one, and this one's £7.25 plus postage. It's a quarter of the size. Little kid sitting on his own. That's it really. It's called A Spirited Child Sculptured Hand Painted Figurine, 2008. Not quite vintage yet, but it's getting there, isn't it? £11.45 delivered. And then the last thing of the week, up to now, because it's this week I'm talking about, is 4 more of these Game Boy games. Game Boy Advance. A Nintendo DS as well. You can play them in Nintendo DS. We've got Bratz Rock Angels, Pets Hamsters 2, Bratz Forever Diamonds. This is a popular game. And a double game, Shark Tale and Shrek 2. Anyway, those 4, like I said, will go, I'll just check the weight on my scale, 59 grams. So if I add an envelope in, that's going to be under 100 grams, £1.55. So because of that, I give a good generous discount. This is why I do it, to get people to buy more than one at once, because any of the discount I'm giving is basically off the postage price. If you sell one of these for say £4.99, the postage price is £1.55. But if you sell 4, the postage price is £1.55. £4.65 you've saved actually. So these 4, I saved £4.65 postage on. But I've given them £4.33 discount, 20% off the price of these. It's automatic. You get 10% off 2, 15% off 3, 20% off 4 or more. And yeah, so they bought 4, which is great. Leaves me 12 out of the 18 or 19 that I listed. So £17.31 delivered. So I've had, about £26 back on those, and I've still got 12 left. Maybe they won't be as popular as these Bratz ones. The Bratz ones are very popular. So up to now this week on that one, it's £83.30. Right, I'm going to get this lot wrapped. It won't take long. They're all in front of me right now. It's not the end. I've got pickups. Yeah, pickups. Loads of them, but lots of small things you'll love, I'm sure. Especially if you're into your gaming. You'll see what I'm saying in a minute. You'll see it in a minute. Speak to you in a second. Roll the SpongeBob transition.
6.5 hours later.
Welcome back. It's Pete again. Obviously, it's halfway through my video. If you're enjoying the video up to now, you know what to do. Subscribe. You will see more stuff like this pickups video in the future. If you'd like to know what I pick up, what sort of prices I'm willing to pay, and what I sell it for, come back and watch the other videos. Advertising over, back to the business at hand. Pickups. I didn't go to Hull, I went to Walkington because it was first Sunday of the month. North Cave, first Carboot. I'll tell you about the first thing I bought at the end because it's the star of the show as far as North Cave is concerned. So, what did I buy? First thing, second thing. No, actually this was the first thing. The star of the show is the second thing. First thing is a kneading massager. You hold it round your neck and it's like a neck brace, a massaging, spinning things which heat up. Anyway, they're about £25. Anyway, that was £1.50. It's in like a little sports bag with a power supply that you plug in and a car adapter, all for £1.50. Pretty pleased with that. I should make good margin on it. So next I got a TV wall mount. You've seen this before, I pick them up all the time. The only reason I bought this one is it's because it's exactly identical to the ones I've got my panel lights on in the spare bedroom that I'm using for lighting. And I thought I could have another one higher up above it so it was pointing straight down. That actually is a bit loose, but you can tighten this up with a hex bolt key. Anyway, you can put the light so that it faces into the room, up towards the ceiling, or down towards the work, which will be very useful indeed actually. And I have a panel light that'll go straight on that. I think it costs £7 for an LED panel light. You know, you see these panel lights that other resellers have. They're quite small. Well, these are a 12-inch square, 16 watt, the equivalent of about, I would have said, 150 watt light bulb. The old light bulbs, incandescent. So you could certainly use 3 of it. I'm using 2 at the moment to light me work, but a third one make it that much brighter, especially straight down. I've got plenty of the black TV mounts for like TVs, but they don't angle far enough down. I got a video game. Surprise, surprise, I got a video game. Xbox 360 Sniper 2 with the manual. Paid £1 for this. It's a bit much, really, for an old Xbox game, but it should be £6.50. So if I was buying it in bulk, I'd have only paid 50p. But it's alright. The disc's clean and it should sell for £6.50, so I'll make a few quid. I got 2 figure 8 cables off a guy, 50p each. Digging about in his box, as I do. I got a George Michael CD. Yeah, like I'm a George Michael fan. No. But if you take the George Michael CDs out, like that, does this remind you of anything? From the side or from the back? Forgetting it says George Michael. This is what they used to use for PlayStation 1 games before they came out with the deep PlayStation 1. When they first came out, they used all of these fat boxes for PlayStation 1 games. So if you get any of the early PlayStation 1 games that came in a fat box, they call them fat box versions. This is an ideal replacement. It's got a connector there. It's got a connector there. So a lot of them had 2 CDs at the time because they were CDs and the PlayStation only played CDs. Some of them had up to 4 and they have a connector both sides of the centerpiece. Those are the holy grail when you're looking for CD cases, because you can sell them to PlayStation collectors. Just the empty case. You take, obviously, you open the connector and you take this bit out. Take George Michael out, so he's completely un-George Michaeled. I also got a case of DVD-Rs, 25 for £1. Should sell for 8 or 9. I think I've already listed them for £11.99 plus postage. But I'm willing to take offers on those. Always are. But I always buy them because they're always selling. Simple as that. We've come to the pièce de résistance as far as North Cave's concerned, because there weren't that many stalls I bought at. It was quite busy though. It's just that I spent most of my money on what's here. So I saw the guy starting to put out some video games. I'll just lay them out not in the order I bought them. So he was laying them out, and they're all PlayStation 2. And he had just a big stack, but I felt like he was going to lay them out individually, which seems a bit off. Just a little bit off. I'll get them all out. There you go. I started looking through. He's got like a stack of about 20 up to now. And I said to him, oh, how much are you PlayStation games? And he says they're about £2, £3, some of them are mostly £1, but there's some that are £2 and £3. So I started looking through them and I came up with a few. I saw this, Half-Life, and I saw The Thing. Great film. Scares the pants out of everybody every time you see it. And then I came across 2 games that I know and want, or rather, I've got Summoner and I wanted Summoner 2. Started playing this. It's a sort of role-playing game where you've got the power to summon devils or whatever. And this one's the sequel. So I've got those. That's 4. And I'm looking through. I couldn't remember what's the other one. I think it might have been Gunfighter 2. Gunfighter 2, Revenge of Jesse James. And I said to him, would you do those for a tenner? And he was like, oh, I should have said the Half-Life and The Thing are more expensive. They weren't meant to be in that pile. They were meant to be in another pile. And I'm like, oh, there you go. So I've got this pile, and they're all, you know, a little bit obscure. And he said, oh, are you a collector? I said, yeah, I am. I've got. There's still this lot on the side. So he said, are you a collector? I said, yeah, I am. Yeah, I collect them, but I also sell them on eBay, so I can, you know, buy in the decent ones that I want for my collection. And he said, oh, I've got some in the car for you then. I'm like, all right. So I didn't want to put them out in case they were stolen. It sounds even better, doesn't it? So he got this pile of 6 games, and I had to reject one of them straight off because I knew how expensive it was. And I said, oh, this will be... And he's like, yeah, that's expensive, mate. And I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a 120 quid one. Okay, fair enough. I'll put it here, what it was, once I've remembered. Basically, I'll troll through the expensive ones and say, yeah, that was it. Anyway, I did pick 4, and I said to him, how much for these 4? And he's like, 120 quid. God, why is it me all the time? And I'm like, that's like £5 each more than on eBay, mate. And he's like, yeah, I know, but you've got them here and you've got them now and you can have them. So what is there? Suikoden 4. The last time it sold it wasn't expensive, but it's an expensive game. Project Zero. This is climbing to the roof. Currently, it's about 50 quid. It could be, there's people trying to get like 80 or 90. Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil. I'm going to say 1 because he also had Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil 2. So this is like a pair. Now that's a bundle. That's a bundle there. If I was going to sell them straight away, which I'm not, I'm going to play these and keep them. And when I sell them, they'll be worth twice as much because the prices on these, they're only going up. The prices on this is shooting up now. And the price on this is, well, I don't. It's rare enough that people don't really go after that series yet in the UK. But when they do, yeah. There's only one sold in the last 3 months. And I believe it was on auction. And it went for about 28 quid. Anyway, I started looking at them. They're mostly in good condition. There's one with a scratch on. Good to very good condition. The Shin Megami Tensei, I think one of them's got a scratch. That one's got a scratch. I could polish it. I'll see if it plays first. If it plays, I don't know. It would polish, but I'm not sure that my polishing is up to it. Then we've got Shin Megami Tensei Digital Devil 2. I think this one's in really good nick. Yeah, it is really good nick. That look at that. Can you see how shiny it is? Yeah, they've all got manuals. Unfortunately, Project Zero, it's got a manual. It's got a really nice disc, but do you see anything wrong with this picture? Look at that. Look at that. Somebody's dog or 9-month-old baby has been at this, and they've also ripped it away from its staples, the cover. So that devalues it quite a bit. This particular game, with that, I'd be looking, with it in really good condition, the manual, I'd be looking for maybe 50 or 60 quid on this game alone. But I'm not. I started looking to see if there was a manual. There was a manual sold recently for only about £11 plus delivery, which is like, you know, probably half as much again as it's worth now without the manual. Incomplete. Put that in, but it's the same as incomplete really. To a collector, somebody wanted this in their collection, wants that manual. But the only other manual anywhere in the world, on eBay anyway, is in the States, and it will add up to about 30 quid to get it. So I will wait and hold on to see if somebody puts one on eBay. So for those we agreed 90, and I said to him, well, what about those other 6 that I chose? Would you do those for a tenner? And he's like, oh no, those are £5 each. I'm like, I'm just buying you really expensive games for 90 quid. You've got to give me a bit of discount for bulk. Because I always ask for discount, as you know. And I said, plus those, they're bundle fodder. I think Gunfighter 2 is bundle fodder. So he said, okay. So I spent 100 with him. And then I said to him, what about the rest of them? I said, you do the rest of them for a tenner. And he's like, oh, I don't know, I haven't looked through for the value. Well, I said, you said £1 to £2. Normally I pay 50p for bundle fodder, and a lot of it's bundle fodder. I don't know about the others, I haven't scanned them all or anything like that. So he said yes. So I got the whole lot for 110, which, yeah, not bad. There's a few in here that are worth something. Gladius, which I hadn't heard of, but it's worth about 8 or 9, maybe 12. Ark, which is Ark Twilight of the Spirits. As I said, they're all manual. All the discs are pretty good. That other one was scratched once. These have got light marks. I mean, I hesitate to call them scratches when they're hair fine, you know. But they are effectively scratches. But they can be polished out. That's a £14 to £15 game. What was the other one? Oh yeah. Primal isn't worth anything. It really is about 6 or 7 quid. But that's got a broken cover there. It's not just the plastic, it's the actual paper, which is a bit of a pity. So that might end up going discounted with the manual up for sale, which I'm happy to do. Maybe £6. Area 51 Steelbook. I think probably get £14 or £15 for that. There you go, with a manual and a disc and a steelbook. I think originally it might have had a card cover. Anyway, that's probably a £15 game. Warhammer, interesting game but not expensive. Return to Castle Wolfenstein. I recently sold 2 of these. This is in a DVD case, but I can fix that. I've got loads of cases. Yeah, that's about £8.50. I've sold it recently twice. Black, interesting game. It's got one of them stickers on. I hate, it's a pet hate of mine when they put a sticker on the manual. Is there any real need for it, mate? I mean, I can understand putting it across the barcode or on the back spine, but some people open the covers and put it on the paper. I believe it's to encourage people to go back and trade it in at their shop, but it's a fucking hard thing to get off. It is possible. Lots of patience, but it can still damage the sheen on the manual. It'll take all the paper and the glue off, but it can still damage the sheen on the manual, which is a pain. There you see, that one had a sticker here, a sticker here, a sticker here, and it's got one on the spine inside the plastic, and it's got one on the manual. This guy, they went bust, by the way, the firm that did this. I think it was something or other games with the orange stripes. It wasn't anybody who's around now. They went bust. Is there any wonder? Because people stop buying games when they get this sort of shit all over them. I wouldn't want to buy that for a collection because of the stickers and knowing how hard it is to get off. I would pass it over in the shop. So that's why they go bust. So anyway, Final Fantasy 2. Stickers like this on the plastic, not a problem. You can get rid of them if you want. You can leave them off if you want. Stickers on the manual, that's a different matter. There you go. Pandora Tomorrow, Tom Clancy. Bundle fodder really, but 4 or 5 quid. Mercenaries, I've got 3 or 4 copies of that. Twin Caliber, interesting, something I haven't had. 2 weapons at once, fine, but it's bundle fodder. Time Splitters 2, Rugby League 2 bundle fodder, Championship Manager 2006 bundle fodder, All-Star Baseball 2004 bundle fodder. So, not a bad little haul there. £115 and 50 pence, and all but £5.50 of it was video games there, all in one pile. It's about a quarter to a fifth of what I would have normally got for 100 quid in games, but with the more expensive ones going up by the day, these are an investment as well as stock, plus I get to play them in the meantime, which is nice because they're pretty rare to get hold of and play those. Next I went to Walkington. I'll just clear these away and then I'll tell you what I got on Walkington. Okay, went to Walkington, replenished some money, because I was just about out. First thing I saw was this. Paid £1 to get in, parked. No, I think it was about the third stall over. First person was selling candles, second person was clothes. I saw this. I said, oh, is that a camera? She says, yeah. Pulled it out. She says, I haven't got a charger. I said, okay. There you go. It's got a battery. Nikon. It's a Nikon Coolpix, and there's a little sticker that says it's 10 megapixels. 4x zoom, 28 to 112mm lens, which is actually quite wide angled. She says it don't work, the battery's flat, and I ain't got a charger. I said, oh, how much is it? And she's like, I don't know, what do you want to pay? And I'm like, shall I say? So I thought, it's got a battery in it. I said, £2. So she says, yeah, I'll take £2, fine. Anyway, I've charged it up, and it does work. Let me turn it on. There you go. There's a, you can see it's working lovely. Let's take a shot. Yeah, flash is working. 10 megapixels, 11 shots left because it hasn't got a card in. We've got an internal memory, but only for a few shots. 12 shots at full resolution. But I would just put a card in it, you know. I'll put a card in it and sell it. I've looked them up. They're about £50 to £55. It might well be worth getting a charger with it. I'm not sure. I often get a third-party charger to add into these so that they've got a full kit and they don't have to go searching anywhere else. It does add value. It makes them a lot more saleable. There's a tip. If you've got a camera and you can get a USB charger from China for £8, obviously you're getting the price of the charger back on top of the camera, so I'd be looking for maybe £60. But I have to remind myself when I'm taking offers that I've invested maybe £10, £12 in it instead of £2 plus a card. I'll have a look at the pricing and which is typical of the ones that are selling. Do they sell with a charger or do they sell on their own without one? Sometimes the batteries charge in the camera if you've got the data cable, and I'm not sure about the Nikons. If that's the case, then a £3 charging cable is fine, you know what I'm saying? Next I got a Rolson multimeter for £1. It's working. It's got a 9-volt battery in the back somewhere. And it's got these nice sharp prongs. Now I've got probably about 2 or 3 of these, but another one just in case you lose them is always handy. Sometimes they're in a box and I can't find them. An extra one that I can put on the side ready for use when it's needed. Actually, I've got one upstairs in my bedroom where I've been testing things, but it'll sit on the side in there. This sort of thing sells for £4 or £5 plus delivery. In fact, it was the first electronics things I used to sell back when it was Yahoo auctions. Right, my brother was selling them, but he decided he was going to give up selling those. He was going to sell other things, and he said to me, "Why don't you sell them?" And I literally was going to that electronics store that's gone bust. You know which one I mean. No, you don't, obviously. This one, and that's why I'm going to look it up later. And anyway, I was buying them in for £1.72 and selling them for £4.99 plus delivery on eBay and on Yahoo auctions, but mostly on Yahoo auctions because it was free. It was great, free, no commission. Yahoo auctions, and I sold dozens upon dozens of them. And I also had emulators for stuff on my PC. So what I did was I downloaded all the emulators and put them on a CD, and all the ROMs that went with it. And I had a Nintendo emulator all on the same disc, and I used to sell the disc because it was freeware. The emulator was a freeware. You didn't sell the emulator, you sold the disc and the service with putting it on the disc and sending it to them. Because the internet was so shit, it would have taken them days, if they'd known what to do, to get what I already had on the CD, 800 megabytes or 740 megabytes of disc data. So I'd post that as well. And I could produce a dozen a day if I needed to. I used to sell 2 or 3 a day, all the time. Yeah, it was quite surprising. But then, of course, people have got the internet now. They don't need to wait around to download 700 megabytes. So anyway, sad note apart. Next I got another camera, if I can find it. There we go. Olympus Trip. Off a lady's stall. I said to her, "Can I have a look in the camera?" And she said, yeah, you can, yeah. She says, "That's £1." I'm like, oh, right, okay, what's wrong with it? It's like, Olympus Trip, MD, in a case. And she said, "There's nothing wrong with it, it's just £1." There you go. They're not as nice as the original Olympus Trip 35, but there's a little switch, you pull that and it pulls the cover open. There's a little switch here, you push that and the flash comes up. It's got batteries in, or it had batteries in. I've taken them out. Where are they? There's one, there's the other. So, took them out because I'd finished testing it. I'll show you in a second. So it had batteries in. Anyway, and it worked. It wound on when I pressed the button. And I thought, well, that's enough. I said, I'll have it for £1, yeah. Anyway, it's a 35mm film camera. Film goes in there and gets wound onto that and then wound back. I'll show you. For those people who haven't seen my video on how to film test a camera, now's the time. So you get your 35mm film and the back of your camera. They plonk the film in with it like at an angle like that, so it drops in. And you push it round so that the flat bit of the film, by the way, I haven't bought an actual film to use in years. I get these in the back of cameras. This one was not in the back of this camera. Anyway, you need a lip of film that's long enough to go over the end of the camera really. And you tuck it in like that, round. You don't have to tuck it into the spline. At one point, the spline pulled it out of the frame. But these motorised ones don't do it like that, they push it out. So it doesn't have to actually tuck into the spline at this end. You make sure it's between the little pegs. There's a peg there at the top and there's a peg there at the bottom. Sometimes it's a rail. And then you close the door. Sometimes the automatic ones will wind on when you close the door. This one isn't as sophisticated, but if you wind it then, it winds on. And if you pull that, it charges up the flash, and eventually this bit here goes yellow to prove that there's the flash about to work. As long as the batteries have got enough power, it should go coloured. There you go. See that? So the flash is ready. So I've tested the flash, I've tested the wind on. It's fixed focus, unfortunately this. So basically, so long as it's got the right exposure, it'll pull the film. It's currently set on 100 ISO. I used to say ISO when I first started. It doesn't work when the cover's on. When the lens is open, you can take shots. We'll take shots up to about 10 or 12. So it's had quite a lot wound off the film canister. It says 14. So next is when you've finished with the film and it's got to the point where it won't wind on any further, some of them automatically wind back. These aren't as that sophisticated. They have a little hole in the bottom down here. Sometimes it's a switch near the top and you flick the switch in it or you push the button inside it and it starts the wind back procedure, which is what I'm going to do now. You push there and you flick the little switch. And it starts winding back, but I always open it long before it's wound all the way back because you lose the film into the canister and you can't use it again. It's really difficult to get those canisters open. If you do, you won't get them closed again. They're one-use canisters. So you take it out and it's wound round the spline that it was pushed on to, and then you can wind up the film again and use it next time. Anyway, that's fully film tested now, so I can call that fully film tested in the advert. There you go. Actually, I want a little bit more than that of it. So now that that's fully film tested, it's worth a lot more. Hopefully in the region of about 30 quid. Oh, I will take the batteries out before I wrap it up for good. I'll leave them in for the camera, for the photographics. Yeah, so that was £1. Should sell for 25 to 30 pounds. The next is something bigger. I'll go and get it, but I'm only going to get the main unit.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
Oh. Right, here we go. Kenwood Chef. It's the one with the sophisticated speeds things, and it's quite heavy. Just a moment. Black and white. It's turned a bit cream actually, but that's okay as long as it works. And I haven't tested it yet. Bear with me a second. Oh, let's hope it doesn't blow any fuses because it's on the same feed as the camera power supply. Right, here we go. First time. Brilliant. Brilliant. It also comes with a balloon whisk, a K-beater, a dough hook, and a blender that goes on the back. So I said to him, oh, how much is it? Because, well, I've been and gone in round Hull and said, how much is that Kenwood? And they say, 40 quid. And they say with that, I know you're a reseller, so I'm not going to sell you it. Attitude. So, they don't sell me it because it's 40 quid. Yeah, so he said, what do you fancy, about a tenner? And I'm like, yeah, all right. I didn't argue with him, tenner. Yeah, I'll have it. I have to be careful with them because they're really heavy. So I left it with him and I went round the rest of the stalls and I bought some more gear. But yeah, I had to leave it with him. I wasn't going to wander around with it. And I went and got it afterwards. So I got some more video games. PlayStation 1, SpongeBob SquarePants. It's called Super Sponge, this one. Don't know why it doesn't say that right on the front. Oh, it does. But it's behind the £4 sticker. Anyway, I was looking at all the PlayStation games. I bought it from him before. He's quite a big collector, and that's what he says he does. But as far as I'm concerned, he's doing exactly the same as me. It's just not on eBay. And I bought Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban with its manual. There you go. Nice disc, I believe. No, it's got a few marks, but I'll clean it. And Groove Rider Slot Car Racer, £8.50. Well, it's actually about £6. There you go. Yeah. So that was £1, that was £2, and I got that one for £2 as well. He didn't mention it to me while I was looking through the PlayStation 1 games, but he said to somebody else, oh, all the PlayStation 1 games are half the marked price. And I'm like, I'll go straight back in that box then. He had some expensive games, but this is £4 in a decent case, except for a little crack there. Well, it's more of a scratch than a crack. It's not all the way through. Yeah, because it's rare to find a cheap game in a decent box. All his boxes were good. The really cheap ones, I would have been tempted to buy them just for the boxes, because I've got plenty of games in that haul that had shitty boxes. But unfortunately, the ones in the shitty boxes are expensive, and the ones in the good boxes are shitty prices. So I'm just going to swap them about until I get the good games in the good cases, and the shitty games will go disc only. There's still a market for disc only. Right, that's those. I came across a guy with a little box with some wires. As I do, I look for wires. There's one, there's the other. So I bought these. I said to him, how much are your wires? And he's like 50p each. So I went through them all, you know, as you do. PlayStation 1 AV cable, or PlayStation 2 or 3 actually. 3 I would use an HDMI every time, but yeah, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, it's a bit dirty, but it's genuine. Hopefully it'll work fine. These were 50p each. Lenovo power supply for a laptop with its little laptop barrel jack. Did take a photo of that and expand it up so I could read it, because it's far too small to read with the human eye. I'm long-sighted now and I just can't read that. There's not enough distinction, it's with its being grey on black. Anyway, it's 19 volt 2.17 amps or something, 2.37 amps, and it's got a code number, so I can look it up. I did look it up, not there and then. I knew it was worth something. I thought maybe 12. It looks like I'll be able to get 17. And then there was this, another 50p, and if anybody's got an eagle eye on there, that's a jack plug for a guitar or an amplifier, and that's a USB connector, which intrigued me until I saw the word Ubisoft. And I knew exactly what it was then. This is for a Rocksmith guitar connector. So you can put your genuine original guitar or bass and play it straight into your PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, One S, One X, One X series, S series, whatever. It's also got this thing called a breakaway connector at the other end. So if you're pulling it and you jerk it, it comes away there, it doesn't damage the USB. All the old Xbox connectors used to have this. Xbox, not Xbox 360. It only fits in a certain way. That's it. So anyway, they're about £15. Not bad for 50p. Easy sell, really. Plonk it on the table, take a photograph, and a bit where it says Ubisoft on one side, and it does actually say somewhere in very small lettering for Rocksmith. The game's only about £6 or £7, but the controller's more expensive. Or rather, the cable to make your guitar into the controller. For £1.50, I'm probably looking at £30 back on those, and keeping the PlayStation cable for one of the PlayStations. I tested the 3 PlayStations I got in that £55 haul. Unfortunately, none of them are working properly. One of them span up the disc but then stopped. 2 of them didn't spin the discs at all. I haven't tested the video output, but I'll just sell them as untested spares of repair. You can still get more than I paid for them for that. A lot more, in fact. They'll probably pay for the £55. Surprising. They're going up in price all the time, the PlayStation, sorry. Next thing I bought was quite surprising. I saw this, so I dived over to see whether it was genuine, and then immediately realised it was fake. It's not a Nintendo controller. It's a fake controller. Fake endo. But it was connected to this lot. So I said, oh, what is that? So he says it's a gaming box. It's a Retro Pi. There's a BlackBerry connector, but it's basically a USB adapter. A USB to micro USB power supply at USB voltage 5.5 up to 2 amp. Actually, I think this BlackBerry is the old up to 1.5 amp. No, I tell a lie. 750 milliamps. It's plenty for this. Let's face it, this computer, it's not exactly very big, is it? Well, when they came out, this was a very small one, but they've produced a Nano, which is about a quarter of the size now. Anyway, I think this one's a 2B 1.1. They have loads of different varieties. And you program it there with a micro SD card, which it has. It has a SanDisk 16 gig micro SD card in it. Basically, it's a full-size video output computer. Yeah, you can run all your Windows stuff on it if you wanted to, but they normally run Linux, Symbian for this sort of microcontroller type computer. 16 gigs there, runs the operating system, which is Retro Pi, and it also has RetroArch on it, so you can play PlayStation games. USB outputs, Ethernet so you can connect to the web, outputs so you can do like controlling motors and other sort of real world outputs, and HDMI and headphones. So yeah. Anyway, I said to him, oh, what's on it then? He says there's 4,000 games. It's like, okay. Why bother asking then? Nintendo mostly. SNES, NES, Capcom, Neo Geo, some MAME. That's a multi-arcade machine emulator, which is the ones I used to put on my CDs, actually. So there'll be a lot of games on this that I used to put on my CDs when I first started selling them on eBay. That was a long time ago. 22 years, maybe 23. Yeah, it was a Wild West then. People used to send you the money in postal orders or £5 notes, and they'd say, can you just tape a 50 pence onto the disc when you send it back? Kid you not. And I'd send it back with a bubble envelope with a bit of card with a 50 pence inside and a freshly made disc with the software that they wanted on it. Yeah, those were the days. Anyway, that's nice little gaming machine. Works fine. I've tested it. It didn't have an HDMI cable, but I won't include one either when I sell it. I will sell it, but I won't sell it for £2, which is what I bought it for. Well, the Raspberry Pis are going for 13 to 15 quid. It's got a hard drive. It's got a card. It's got a card, not a drive. It's a card. 16 gig. SanDisks, I don't know, £5 quid maybe. So it's probably 20 quid's worth of hardware. And then there's having put it on. I haven't done that, but somebody did. That's got value. I'll whiz through the next few bits because they're not really interesting. Blue iPhone 13 box for 50 pence. But I knew that somebody might be interested in this to put with the phone when they sell it. So I bought this. Then I got another camera. Fuji FinePix. Let's take that off. 1300. I don't know whether it's working yet. I haven't tested it. I should have put the batteries in this. Never mind. Anyway, I said to them, £9, can I have a look at it? And they said, yeah. Now, normally, the last one of these I bought was like £3 with memory cards. And it had like 4 memory cards in it. Anyway, I opened it up and the first thing I saw was a memory card. So, can't be bad, can it? There's a memory card. Now, this one is the one that was originally delivered into it. Fujifilm 64 megabytes. But this 64 megabyte card was actually in the camera, and there was an 8 megabyte card in this. But it's been peeled back at the back and slid in. So I peeled it back and I slid the 8 meg out, and I slid the 64 in. So there's a 64 megabyte smart media card in its packaging, hardly used. It's in good nick, it's fine. And then there's a fine pix camera with the 8 megabyte that was in that in the side. So I have to put batteries in it and test it. And if it works, then I'll sell it with the camera, with the card, for maybe 25, maybe 20. That's all. It's 1.3 megapixels. It's not going to go for a lot of money, but it does have the old CCD, and it's got a tiny little screen on the back. But the CCD sensor, rather than CMOS sensor, these days they all have CMOS. The CCD has a very different flavour of picture and colour, and a lot of collectors are after them, especially for kids, so they can play with them. First camera, this is point and shoot, there's no focusing. All there is take shots and look at the shots on the back of the camera. That's all there is on this. And turn it on, obviously. It's got a flash and all that business. It's automatic, but you can set up a menu so that it doesn't flash and things like that. Comes with a manual and disc. So yeah, it's all in the box. Everything in the box is also supplied. So there's a data cable, software disc and manual. Actually, that's the manual for the storage driver, which is a bit weird. Okay, fair enough. So there's no manual for the camera. It's okay though, that's fine. Still sell it without any trouble, but I'll sell the 64 megabyte card separately. So the card will probably be 19 or 20 quid on its own. I could sell the 8 megabyte card for sort of 9 or 10 quid, but I'll sell that with the camera to make the camera much more saleable. And hopefully somebody will pick that up for 25, that'd be nice. So that's virtually all of it. Oh, I got a sort of tenor, what do they call them? Recorder. There's one end. There's the cleaning rods. See if I can find the other end. There's the middle bit. And there's the other end. I'll put it together just for variety. There you go. It's a good make, Aulos or Olos. I don't know whether it's Olos or Aulos. It has some grease for when you're putting it together to make it smoother, because it was hard work just then. And as I said, it's got the 2 cleaning rods. One's a short one, one's a long one. From what I've seen, we're talking only a tenner. Anyway, that cost me, it wouldn't go down, cost £2. You put the little cream there. It's just grease to go between the 2 pieces of plastic. There you go. Yeah, so that was £2 unfortunately. But I did actually see on the next stall along another £2 for this remote. Sky remote. If you see a Sky remote, just buy it. Unless they're like £10 from a Sky remote. Yeah, if you get one of these, I've put the batteries in this. Yeah, there's no LED. Even though it's infrared, you'd have to look at it through a camera. You can tell whether it's working if there's an LED. These are Bluetooth. So you press the last 2 buttons, 7 and 9, before the question mark buttons. And after a little while, it starts flashing up there. It flashes a couple of times, and that means it's been factory reset. If you then go up to 1 and 3 and press it for the same amount of time, it starts flashing constantly like that. Now that is it's looking for its Bluetooth partner, and it'll carry on trying to pair. It's obviously got a certain amount of time. I'm going to see if I can find the connection on my phone, because I haven't tried this before. But if you're scanning, Bluetooth on, right, if I'm scanning now and I'm trying to establish a connection, it may come up. Yeah, it has. U026 Ruido Sky Remote. And if it's stopped now. Pairing. It won't pair because it's not flashing. Let's try flashing it like that. Yeah, it wants to pair with my phone. Well, we'll cancel that. Couldn't pair. That's fine. So we know that that's working, and we know that the Bluetooth's working. We can take the batteries out the back of it. So that now is worth £20 to £22. With I can say the Bluetooth's working. Yeah, £2 that was. Lots of people sell it for like 15 to 16 to 20, but mine's tested and working with the Bluetooth. I just showed you how. And I think that's it. Did I show you this box? 50p, Raspberry Pi, cables, Blue iPhone box, Fujifilm, memory. That's your lot. £150 and 60p, including the video games, which I'm really going to enjoy playing, as well as testing, listing and selling. I'm going to say goodbye. Enjoy the rest of the week.